Hello everyone! In today's video, me and my other group members, which are Fatin, Asyiera and also Ahmad Firdaus, are going to present our lesson plan that have been assigned to us by our TESL lecturer, Sir Nazirul, under the subject The Teaching of Listening and Speaking Skills. Without further ado, let's go to the first one, which is the overview of the lesson plan. For our lesson plan, the reference that we took is from the Year 3 Sekolah Kebangsaan Scheme of Work, Lesson 18. The language focus for this lesson plan is present simple for routines. The main skill is speaking, and the complementary skill is reading. The topic for our lesson plan is the module 2, which is everyday, and the theme for our lesson plan is world of self, family, and friends. The content standard for the main scale is 2.1, which is communicate simple information intelligibly. As for the complementary skill for the content standard is from 3.2, understand a variety of linear and non-linear print and digital text by using appropriate reading strategies. Next is learning standard. The learning standard for the main scale is 2.1.2, which is find out about and describe basic everyday routines. And for the learning standard for the complementary skill is 3.2.2, which is understand specific information and details of very simple phrases and sentences. Next is the objectives of our lesson plan. By the end of the lesson, all pupils will be able to speak about everyday situations. Other than that, all pupils also will be able to read and understand the meaning of the sentences given.
Now we move to per listening. In this stage, the recommended time is 15 minutes. First of all, teacher will ask students to pay attention. This is a whole class activity. The rationale in it is to give new information to start teach. To the second step is teacher will show a video about an everyday situation. Now you see in the video before, that is the example. The teacher will show a video. Here the content will be skills. It's to test the student speaking, reading and listening skills. The teaching method will be direct method and natural approach. After that, teacher will get students respond to the action of the video by asking them stimulant question like how they what were they doing, how they having fun. After that, teacher will introduce and explain topic for today's class. Teacher will write question on the board for listening or reading text that student will answer during the lesson. Make sure the teacher will provide 2 or 3 possible answer and make sure one of it is correct. Then ask the students to choose what's the answer. Student will listen or read the text following to their prediction.
Now, I will be presenting our while listening development. This activity will be conducted in a classroom for 15 minutes. It is a whole class activity which the pupils will be using two of the skills, which is the main skill speaking and also the complementary skill reading. This activity, the students will be playing board game related to the topic of the lesson. The rationale of this activity is to make sure students understand about the topic given and the activities. Other than that, it is to teach and introduce students to new vocabulary. Next is teaching aids. The first teaching aids for this activity is the dice. So later on in this activity, we are going to divide the pupils into groups, so we need more than a dice. So I have 3 dice over here for the students to use during the activity. The next teaching aids is this board game. This is the board game that the pupils are going to play with the dice. So each boxes, as we can see here, are consist of questions in everyday routines. For example, like at the start, the question is how many fingers do you have? So the students have to answer the question and then it is considered as the correct answer. After the student answer the question, then the other students is going to take a turn to roll the dice and continue the game. Whoever finish the game will win this board game.
Hello everyone and Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatin Asyiera Nabila binti Shamshol Bhari, and today I am going to present to you about post listening in the lesson plan for subject the teaching of listening and speaking skills. Let's go through with the lesson plan. Okay, the first thing ever we have to. This is the lesson plan. And for your information, this is a whole class activity. So a whole class activity means all students have to participate in this activity. So the skills that we use for this activity is reading and speaking. And the rationale that we focus on is to stimulate their pre-knowledge. And the teaching method that we use is direct method. The teaching aids that we use is flashcards. So basically, we just use flashcards in this activity. So let's go with the process of the activity. So the first one is briefly review the vocabulary on the flashcards. So in this activity, me and the students will briefly review the vocabulary on the flashcards. So that was the main activity that not the main. It's what we focus on this activity. We review the vocabulary on the flashcards. So the second one is place the flashcards on the walls around the room. So in this part, I will place the flashcards on the walls around the classroom. So basically, I place the flashcards randomly, and the flashcards are contains a lot of vocab in that flashcards. So and then the student have to find the flashcard in the certain part of the classrooms. So the third the third process is say a word. Pupils point to the corresponding flashcards. So the students also they have to say a word. After they find the flashcards, they have to say a word, and at the same time they have to point to the corresponding flashcards. Next, Divide pupils into groups. Pupils continue this activity in their groups. So in this part, I will divide them into a group. For examples, for all three groups, it depends on how many students are there in the class. So and then they have to continue after I divide them into groups. They have to continue the activity in groups. And so for me, this is a simple activity that we can give to our students. It's easy and it's simple and easy to understand. So this is the presentation for post listening in the lesson plan for subject the teaching of listening and speaking skills. Thank you.